Hi, I'm Alex Puccio, a professional climber, and I'm here with rope coaching. Today, we're going to go over toe hooking and the do's and don'ts and why they are so cool. The first reason I'm going to show you why toe hooking is so great is because it gives you a longer reach. Me being 5'2", that's very, very, very beneficial. And it's also going to keep my hips closer into the wall. If I do a heel hook, which I'll show you first on this arete when I'm doing a made-up climb, I'm going to have less of a reach and maybe not be able to reach the holds I'm going for. Versus if I have the toe hook, then I'll be able to reach them with ease. So putting a heel hook on, I can reach the first one, but then I can barely reach the next. Now, if I have a toe hook instead, my hips are close to the wall and I'm able to reach so much easier. And then it's easy to release them as well when you can slide out. Versus a heel hook, a lot of the time, it's kind of more of a cut and then a little bit of a swing with it. So again, I'm gonna show you what it looks like having the heel hook. Still be able to reach it, but then having to as you can see, I had much bigger swing versus if I do it with the toe hook and I can slide the toe hook out. So again, same move, more reach with the toe hook, then I can nicely slide it out. Way less of a swing and I'm not fighting gravity as much.
This video is brought to you by the Tib Bar Guy. If you follow us on social media, you'll see that we've been using this product, the Solo Tib, regularly for over a year now. The Solo Tib allows us to train the shin muscle, aka the anterior tib in isolation, as well as the hip flexors, as you'll see later on. We'll only ever advertise products we generally rate and use regularly, and this is one of them. The Tib Bar Guy has also just released an update for this product, and you'll see added features including a heel strap, allowing for more stability, but also to help train the hamstring for heel hooking too. For any viewers that want to improve at both heel and toe hooking, you'll get a 10% discount using the code ROAP on the tibbarguy.com website. For more details, check out the description below. Now, to get back to coaching.
Here we have this red V6/7, and I'm gonna show you climbing through the roof on it, why toe hooks are even more beneficial when we're in a roof. And I'm gonna demonstrate a few different types of toe hooks. There'll be a bicycle, there'll be even a toe hook match, and then also an inverted toe hook. So as I'm entering the roof right now, it's already starting to get harder on my arms. And this is where it'd be more beneficial to do a good bicycle. Make sure it's locked in, and then I can release, and you see my right arm is straight. I'm here to reach up to the next one, toe hook match, and then swing up, let the toe hook go. This, I'm gonna do an inverted toe hook, which is a quite weird one, but it's also one of my favorite, to be honest. And then to finish off, when it's beneficial to use a great heel hook. Many, many different types of toe hooking. Here, I'm going to demonstrate the same exact red climb I just did with using all the toe hooks, but this time without using the toe hooks. And then you can see the difference of how much harder it's going to make it, especially climbing through a roof. It's funny when I want to toe hook and I can't. Oh, can't toe hook. So many times I naturally wanted to toe hook. But I will do the good old heel hook for the finish without the right toe. So much harder. Definitely was way more on the biceps than climbing on my skeleton. So as you saw here in the middle of this roof on this red climb, I did what we call a bicycle. And to make the bicycle work, you have to have one foot pushing down, and the other foot, in this case, is the right foot pushing down, the left toe, then it was toe hooking and pressing against. So you're creating a pinch. And then you're gonna keep the toe hook leg as straight as possible. Then when you match your hand, you can release out and the leg stays straight. So I'll demonstrate this move again. Go up to the hold. Make sure there's room for when my toe, so I bump the left hand up to make sure there's gonna be room for my left toe hooking. But I put right foot first, that's gonna be the pressing foot. And then the left one, toe hooking foot. See how I start extending my left leg. And then since there's room, I can come in and match my toe hooks with still straight legs to take the other one out. So in this same bicycle move, I'm gonna show you why it's important to have a straight toe hooking leg. And I'm gonna show you what it looks like if I try to keep it bent and move off of it. It's so hard to even do it wrong because I naturally know what the right way is, and doing it wrong with that bent leg, when I want to take my left hand off, it just slips off. So on this block climb, I'm going to show you why it's better to use a toe hook sometimes versus a heel hook and when to use it. For example, on this arete, the toe hook is going to allow me to have more reach. Also, when I want to release it, I can slide it out versus a heel, you're going to have to cut. And now I'm going to show you why using a heel hook is going to make one of the moves up here a little bit harder. So it might feel good and secure when I place it, but then when I get to this point, going out from the heel, it's harder to slide and cut the heel and hold a swing versus when you already have a toe hook that you can then just easily slide your toe hook. So another thing you want to make sure is that you get enough surface area in the right part of your foot over the hold when you're toe hooking. So if you're just going to use a little bit of your foot, you're not going to have much surface area. You're not going to be able to like flex it up to be able to really engage that toe hook. You want to get it deeper. So for example, if I just have this, it's going to slide off. I need to get back there so that I can flex that foot up as much as I can and then create a really nice anchor point. So something to think about if your project or climb that you want to do is really demanding with toe hooks is the shoe that you decide to use for that climb. As you can see, the shoe that I'm wearing doesn't have laces, nor does it have a Velcro strap lower down. So the surface area for the toe hooking and how much rubber there is going to be a lot more beneficial for toe hooking versus a shoe that doesn't have as much rubber on the toe or has Velcro straps lower down.
Okay, so Alex has gone through how to toe hook, how not to toe hook, but one of the biggest feedbacks from our heel hooking video was that you guys want to know how to train it specifically. Now obviously if we're climbing, the best way to train for toe hooks is go and toe hook. Toe hook as much as possible, indoors, outdoors, but we do appreciate that toe hooks aren't everywhere indoors. So we've come up with a few key exercises that you can do at home or at your gym to help strengthen everything for toe hooking. So let's start with kind of the geeky stuff. When I assess people for training, one of the things we sometimes do is test their toe hooks. So if you're interested in this, this is called a Tindeq, T-I-N-D-E-Q. It's a dynamometer, but we test people essentially by wrapping over their toes, getting them to lean away, and then pulling as hard as they can to try and find their peak force. And this Tindeq will send the information, the data to your phone, and it tells you kind of the numbers. So this is a good way of, one, testing, but 2, tracking progress using the other exercises, including climbing. Another really simple and useful tool is using a band. You can train full strength by increasing that resistance. You can just hold an isometric. You can hold an isometric whilst doing your hip flexion as well as your anterior tib, but also you can train repetitions too. And I'm really weak at toe hooking, so I do a lot of repetitions for this anterior tib. A really simple way of training the muscle that's important, like the shin muscle, which is called the anterior tib, is just to use a bar, or in this case, I'm going to use a really heavy dumbbell, so it's 100 pounds, and I'm going to shove my toes underneath, try and get as much of it as possible, and just lean back. And you can see, obviously, with this weight, it's trying to come off the floor. I'm really straining to pull on this shin muscle, the anterior tib, and I'm going to pull as hard as I can. And if that's a static bar, brilliant. You're just going to train that strength, and you'll start to see the point where that shin muscle will flex, where you've kind of hit your peak strength. And we really want to try and stay engaged and have that 90-degree action that Alex talked about in the film. Right, another way of training your anterior tib is just using a kettlebell. Again, shoving your foot in, lifting up, and you can hold an isometric like this. The beauty of this is also, if we go back to that footage of Alex training in the roof, where she was toe hooking her hand, often we do have to toe hook when we bring our foot to our hands, and it could be quite close, and we're going to be weak at that range. The beauty of this is that you can lift it and rep that strength in your hip flexor, as well as train your anterior tib. Okay, this is an amazing product that I use multiple times a week by the Tib Bar guy. And this product specifically is the Solo Tib Bar. Comes in a box, super easy. It's basically got like a snowball binding, but you slide this out, screw it onto here, and then we'll just put a plate on here, clamp this in, and we'll do some repetitions. But this product is incredible for training your anterior tib, hence the Solo Tib Bar. So I've put on a 10-pound plate, I've cranked it in, super easy to do. And as I said before, it uses this snowboarding binding. So I'll just crank it up. And then the beauty of this is I can train just that anterior tib strength by doing isometrics and holding at this 90-degree angle. I could flex it for engagement strength. But like we did with the band and the kettlebell, I can literally train it at the same time as doing my hip flexor. So if I have to do closer toe hooks, then I can train it whilst doing the hip flexor. And again, I can rep it at any range. So you can train your anterior tib and your hip flexor at different ranges. And obviously you've got that versatility of just changing the weight and increasing it accordingly. So the Tib Bar guy, amazing product. I genuinely use this kind of 3 times a week. You'll see on my social media that I use this all the time, and it's portable. So we take it on all of our climbing trips. If we go on holiday, it just comes in the handy box. But highly recommend the Solo Tib from the Tib Bar guy.
I hope you enjoyed this episode on toe hooking and find these tips and tricks beneficial for your own climbing. Remember to subscribe and give us a like for more content from us.